So sometime that's, boom, there we go. What's going on, Just Build It family? So we are here with another project. This project is basically just trying to prep for the car, its light system, all right? So, you know, it's been quite a journey with the JDM headlights. Those headlights are now done. Now it's time to tie in the side markers. So yes, I did get some OEM Honda DC2 side markers, getting harder and harder to find. I also ordered the harness for the side markers instead of doing the chop job, which is, that's what you want to do, you can do. It might be easier for you to do that, but I said instead I want a lot more plug and play and a little bit more clean. So this is what I opted out to go with, and I can list some of these things in the description if able. Here are the sockets for the side marker, which we will need to test all of this out when we get done. And this is what we are actually dealing with, okay? Because the side marker that comes in the DC2 headlight has a different connector end. Now, of course, if you got the whole pigtailed front end, you'll have this to pigtail off of, and you can bridge it into your pre-existing wiring if that's something you want to do. But if you don't have the OEM pigtail ends with the front end for whatever reason it may be, maybe you got a front end that was already done, they have USDM, they kind of splice it all in. I think this is going to be a cleaner way. So the problem is the corner lights are what connect to the side marker, especially using the harness. Well, the harness that's available to us, at least that I know of in the US, are the plug and play for USDM corner lights out of the EG, the DC, and the EK models. Although all of them have the same end, I believe, unless we find out different in this video, they do not have the same base and garment that plugs into the corner lights. So this is where it's going to be beneficial for us and where it's not beneficial at times, but I'm going to show you what I came up with in order to make all of this plug and play and to work together, and it's going to take a little bit of modification. So to start off our modification, we are going to use an isolating saw, which is a lot better to use. It doesn't grind into the material, say a bigger range back and forth, so you won't grab it. It's real small, real vibrating, and that's going to use that. We're going to use a metal brush to clean off our area. We're going to use a good razor blade, sharp one, to get in there and kind of find the areas up, kind of fine tune them, and a pair of pliers just in case we need them. So we're going to go ahead and get started. That's enough talk. The thing you want to notice are the corner lights. Going from here, we have the DC2 corner light. Then right here, we have the EK corner light, and then the DC EG corner light. As you notice, they are quite different as far as the notches that are in here. The locking tabs is what you can call them. And on the back side of these, you'll notice even with the pigtail, here is the DC2, and here is this one is the EG DC. I believe this came out of EG, but here it is right here, and you can see that's extremely different. So as you notice right here with the harness, they're using the USDM. So what we will do is we'll go ahead and unplug one of these just so you can see how that would plug in. And as you see, boom, plugs in just like that, snaps in, snaps out. Pretty much the same right here for this one being out of the EK, snaps out and snaps right in just like that. All right, so those harness ends are the same. We could put these pigtails to the side because we're not going to need them just yet. Don't throw anything away. So what I want to point out is, yes, the EG-DC locking tabs are very similar to the DC2. The difference is the gapping from here to the garment, and that's what you're going to run into. So as we scoot, let's scoot these to the side and bring in the actual light assembly. And I'm going to be very careful with this. So this is your area where this plugs in. The DC2 OEM plug goes in, snaps, and locks in just like that, all right? Locks in place pretty good. Now, the EG DC, you have to find out which tab will fit in what, but as you notice, it doesn't all fit in, okay? Now it barely fits in that way, and that's because these tabs are slightly larger as far as width than all of the tabs here on the DC. Now that's what we're gonna run into. And as you see right here, you'll get the same thing with the EK. This one is a lot wider right there, but in that surface area, so it won't fit in there. So let's go ahead and put this light to the side for right now because we won't need it and we don't want to break DC2 light. I got these for backups just in case. Okay, so what we're gonna be working with right here, let's get a towel out so these don't roll around as much. Let's put a towel down. What we're gonna be working with is right here. Now I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna choose the EK plug over the EGDC. And the reason is, although my gapping here between my garments seems about the same, if you notice, the locking tabs on the EK give me more room to play with for adjustment, even on the biggest one right here, okay? The reason why you don't wanna go in, and matter of fact, let's bring the light back in place. You don't wanna go in and start modifying your headlight here is because that is, you can get another one of these, but it's gonna cost you. I would prefer not modify this so that the tolerance and the sealing ability stays the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to not use this one. We're going to use this one because what we're going to end up doing is modifying all of these little tabs, or some of them. We're going to see which ones fit and which one doesn't. And we'll focus on either tab the most in order to get a good fitment, a good lock. And another reason is sometimes you all are using the EGDC, and to modify this one, there's already not a lot of surface area here. So you'll end up taking off so much to where pretty much this locking tab could break when you try to put it in, especially with trying to get enough pressure and seal fit with this garment against the headlight frame. So that's why I'm opting not to use the EGDC and to use the EK, because it gives me a lot more material to work with and more material to gradually take off to get that nice snug fit. So let's go ahead, we'll put these off to the side because we don't need them. We're gonna focus on this one. What I'm gonna do right now is I am going to go ahead and try to fit this into the DC2 headlight and see which one does it fit. And I wanna go ahead and take this garment off so I don't ruin it when I start modifying it. So take that garment off. All right, now put the towel down. As we see right here, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna look at this, and I can tell that my biggest notch is right down here. So I wanna take the biggest locking tab here and go down here and see what happens. Now I noticed that I get a fitment pretty much on the other three, but not this bottom one. Not this bottom one. So this is the one we're gonna start with first. We're gonna start modifying that one first. Now, I'm gonna tell you this. Taking off the width of this, it gives you more tolerance. What we wanna be very careful is how much we take off the back side of this, because depending on how much we take off the back side of this is gonna affect our locking, our snug fit, all right? So we're gonna be very careful with that. We're gonna go ahead and take a small measurement from the actual headlight to see how much of this we need to trim off width-wise, and then we'll go ahead and start working on the back side once we're able to fit it in. So if I'm looking here at this tab, I'm gonna go ahead, I mean, this doesn't need to be perfect. Doesn't need to be perfect at all right? So what I will do is I'm gonna just take this drill bit and I'm gonna let the light sit down a little bit. I'm gonna take this drill bit, get me a marker, all right? Got me a marker right here. I'm going to go ahead, just kind of put this across here. Doesn't, like I said, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to give me a little bit of something to work with. And there's my mark right there, all right? Now I could use a pair of calipers, but there's my mark right there, and that's what I'm gonna end up using. All right, so now I can go ahead and put this light back over there, because like I said, we don't wanna risk knocking this off. So now with the bulb, now let's go ahead and take this bulb out as well so we don't break that and have glass everywhere. Now we're just gonna take our mark and see how much we need to trim off. And as you can see, we need to trim off quite a bit. There's quite a bit there that'll need to be trimmed off. All right, quite a bit there. You can tell with the edge of that mark, we're gonna need to trim off a little bit. So I'm gonna say, if I can break the middle, I'm gonna just make a mark and I'm gonna trim until it's gone. I'm gonna say this much here, this much here, all right? There you go. That's how much I'm gonna start trimming off, the black marks. Now we got our isolating saw right here. Now, of course, you can go ahead and put some gloves on if you need. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. Now, I'm gonna take our razor blade, just kind of clean the area up, just scrape it. I'm not worried about the surface being scratched or whatever. If you wanna sand it out to make it all nice and smooth again, that's fine. Right now, I just kind of wanna deburr it. That's all I really wanna do is deburr it. And this also is where our metal brush will come in. So we can get some of those other little nice flakes out of there. And boom, there we go. All right, there it is. So now we're gonna try to fit it in again. And let's see how it fits. All right, let's bring the light back over here and test it out. All right, so remember our biggest opening is right here. So we're gonna take this one, put it in right here, and bow. We already got fitment right there. Look at that. Twist and everything. So that's good fitment. We got good fitment right there. It twists, does all of that. So right now we're looking pretty good right there. Now what we need to do, since it turns, we need to try to put our garment back on, our gasket, and see if it'll fit in there and will it turn and lock. So that's the next thing. So let's just try that because that might be the only thing we need to do. We might not have anything else to do. And of course, you can probably get these brand new. Now notice we got a lot more space taken up here. All right, it's a lot more space taken up here now. So let's see if we can still get that fitment and if we can lock it into place. All right, so it's not locking into place, all right? It's not locking into place, so that means we're gonna have to modify the back side of those. All right, that's what that means. So we got the fitment as far as the socket going into each gap for the lock tabs. Now we need to go ahead and we need to start trimming off this back end, okay? But remember, we wanna trim very little first. Trim very little off of here at a time and keep trying to test fit. So let's go ahead and start trimming off of these. And matter of fact, go ahead and make you a reference mark, all right? Make you a little small reference mark, just a little bit, so you kind of have a sense of that, okay, you've taken off that much material, now let's test fit. Because if you don't, you could go further than you need to, and then we may screw it all up and it'll be sloppy in there, and that's not what we want. We don't want it to be sloppy. All right. All right, let's kind of clean those out. All right, get our brush back in here. Try to knock off any little flakes of burrs we might have hanging around. And as we go in, I can get the file kit and kind of clean these up. Once we get everything fitted, I can clean them up a little bit more. All right, so now let's put our gasket back on. And I'm probably gonna soak these or try to see if I can find them brand new and get them cleaned up. All right, so now we got a little bit more gap in there from our gasket to our locking tab. So now let's go ahead, bring the light back over, and let's see what we got. All right, so light back in, finding our biggest tab. We modified that one here. Gonna push it in, and now we're gonna try to see if we can get it to lock in place. Bow, there it goes. It locks. Look at that. No play, no jiggle. It's sealed up. Unlock, bow. Now the test is, let's put the light in and see if the light will go in with it. All right, so we got the bulb on now. Now let's go ahead and see if the bulb will work in here, because this bulb's a bit longer than the regular typical bulb. So sometime that's, boom, there we go. We're good, all right? So now that we got that in, let's go ahead and hook up the harness. That was not bad. That wasn't bad at all. Okay, so let's go ahead and hook this harness up. So as it sits, we will have, it looks like what we got here is, this goes to the side marker. This one goes into the light, and this one will go to the body harness or the chassis harness for the corner light. So this is where the professional splice comes in, or the Y-off is what I'll call it. So this one is gonna plug in here. As you see, bow, right there, plugs in. Then this one is the body harness, which we don't have, it's with the car. This one is going to be the side marker, which we have this right here. So let's go ahead and open this up. All right, got our side marker right here. Line up the locking tabs right there, I believe, yeah, and twist it. And that one is locked in place. There we go, locked in. Now this plugs into here, like so. Bow, and there we go. There is your side marker harness plugged into your corner light, a now modified EK plug, plugging into a JDM DC2 corner light for a USDM chassis harness, and everything is professionally done. Now, hopefully all this is measured out to what it needs to be to go right to the fender, but if not, what we can do is we just come in here, all right? You could come in here where they already broke into and redo that, or you can just go here, break out of here, splice, cut what you don't need, and re-splice it up with soldering. Don't use, I don't really like the soldering joint heat connects. I'd rather just solder it and heat shrink it, but right now we're good. There it is right there. So how to modify your JDM DC2 headlight with a USDM chassis, EK plug for a corner light into there, and how to modify the socket so that you can have a good seal with the gasket, and you can have good locking tabs that still have quite a bit of material on them that won't break off, and then next thing you know, you get all the moisture and the liquid in here after you wash your car. This is the way you want to get it done. And I'm wondering if, let me see. Yep, right there. I mean, that's good. It's even parallel. So let's recap on this for a second. That was a pretty good and easy fix. I don't think that took us more than 20 minutes to do. Now we have a modified USDM corner light from an EK Civic, whichever Civic, it could be the hatch or the coupe. And we have our harness for our side marker. We have our side marker, and everything is nicely plugged. It is nicely heat shrinked. It's gonna be nicely ran. We should have good continuity. You can check it if you like. And we have all plugs in with no modification to the actual JDM DC2 head assembly. All modifications to something that we can go to any junkyard in your local area and get out of a EK Civic 96 to 2000, I believe. And now it plugs in place. So if we ever need another one and we need to redo it, it costs nothing for us to go get. I mean, not nothing, but it costs us a few dollars, but it's way better than trying to find the JDM DC2 plugs and make this work. And like I said, if you already have the pigtail to this, yes, you can splice in. But another thing I think I saw that some people deal with is how to wire them up. With this, I don't need to know how to wire them up. My chassis has everything. It's USDM plugged. Even my lights, my headlights that are going into the Harsh Times wide body tag, the lights themselves have USDM plugs on them, so I don't need to splice, convert anything. Now everything is going to be fully plug and play. Tronics Works is who supplied the body harness or the headlight harness going up that way. So they'll be incorporated into the next phase. You already saw that as we did the unboxing of that. They're going to be incorporated on the next phase of this when we actually install the headlights, install the side markers, get all the harnesses plugged in. You're going to see how that's going to come into play and how much easier and cleaner that will also make your build and the wiring go, because you know this can be like a rat's nest, a bird's nest, whatever you want to call it, but this is really clean. I'm enjoying how this turned out. I didn't know where we might end up with this, but I think this is a viable solution for you. So if you do try it, let me know what you think down below in the comment section, what you've done before to your JDM2 cut front or whatever your friends have done before, and let me know if you try this, how it works out for you. And like I said, easy parts to get. You can look up harnesses for side markers on the internet and you can find them, but the only thing is you won't find them with the JDM DC2 connector plugs for this. You'll find them with USDM, and that's why I did what I did here. Hopefully this helps you. You know what I say, just build it. Peace. Thanks for tuning in and watching another video here at Wolfpack Performance. Check out some of my other content on Formula One issues, our topics, and our DIY products on how to customize your vehicle. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.